Well, hello and welcome back to some of the final track action here at Oulton Park this afternoon. It is the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic and we are straight off with the green flag waving to, this is the support category this weekend, to the Ferrari Challenge UK, and the rain, Alan Hyde, myself, Harry Benjamin here in the commentary booth, is coming down as was expected at 4 o'clock local time. Lots to deal with.
It was about perfectly timed as well. It maybe turned up 10 minutes before it was forecast for, but it has changed the complexion of the Oulton Park circuit completely as you see the cars making their way around the circuit in the on the formation lap. It is with spray coming out from the back of the cars. It's been pretty full on for the last 35-40 minutes or thereabouts as far as rain is concerned. It's properly wet the circuit, so they have a full wet circuit to deal with. I wonder if that means they're going to get 2 formation laps. Very possibly they will, because the circuit now very different to how they qualified this morning.
Certainly, and they only came into qualifying straight away, no practice at all beforehand, so that was their first experience of the track. Now we're straight into the racing action as well. Here's how it lines up on the grid. It's Wayne Mars on pole position ahead of Tristan Simpson, Christopher Goddard and Chris Butler, the top 5. Then it's Tim Walker and Vance Kearney just behind them in 5th and 6th. Then 7th and 8th in row 4 is Richard Mosley and Colin Sota. And the number 16 and the number 26 Ferraris. Behind them, 9th and 10th, rounding that out, Andy Riddick and Peter Fisk, and just missing out on the top 10 was Ray Ferguson and Miles Poulton, who will start from 12th. On row 6, the number 28, just behind them is Darren Mills and Richard Fenny. On row 7, row 8, 15th is William Morwood, 16th is Tony Claringbould. And the final row 9 in 17th we'll see Timothy Shearman, and 18th and last on the grid will be Peter Mosley as they continue to make their way around the slightly treacherous track as well. You can just see the shimmering off. It's going to be slippery and slidey. Windscreen wipers certainly on here for the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic.
It's going to be greasy, isn't it? It's been dry all day. There's rubber that's gone down throughout the day as well, and it's going to be a fairly tricky start to this race. No doubt about that whatsoever. You can see the intermittent white, because in the air it's only light rain, isn't it? It's just been enough to have caused the circuit to be completely wet right the way around, and to now go around the circuit on the formation lap. They're finding out just how greasy it is, and quite right, they're getting 2 formation laps. The conditions now very different to the conditions that they had when they qualified this morning, so therefore they get 2 familiarisation laps, 2 formation laps.
Certainly so, and if you're new to the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic Series, or just like a reminder, of course, it's all Ferraris from bygone eras, mainly from the mid-70s onwards. We've got a 308 GT4, a 328 GTB,
Hooray.
348 Challengers, 328 GTSs, a Mondial T, and several F355 Challenge cars as well. So certainly a huge eclectic mix, and I think you might have a favourite.
Well, you can pick your favourite, can't you, from whatever era you grew up with Ferraris. My particular would be all from Group 2. That probably shows how old I am, Harry, before you say it. 308 GT4s and 308 GTBs. I've had friends that have had both of those cars, and they are completely glorious cars.
Well, you allude to it there are several groups. That is how this championship system is decided in the individual classes. Of course, actually, it's not a formal championship. Prizes are awarded to the class winners on a race-by-race basis, but no points, they don't carry over, so there's no overall title to be won. And Group 2 sees the 308 GT4 cars, that's the lightly modified cars, up to 3 litres. The Group 3 cars containing 328 GTB Ferraris, unmodified cars over 3 litres. And then we have Group 4, which also contains a 328 GTB, but also a 348 Challenge, a 328 GTS, and the Mondial T, all lightly modified cars, all over 3 litres. And finally, the Group 5, which consists of, yes, entirely F355 Challenge cars, modified cars over 3 litres. So those are the 4 different groups, 5 different groups even, I should say. Oh no, 4 different groups.
4.
There isn't a group 1.
No.
I thought that was an error on my notes. 4 different groups, and certainly providing action, hopefully, up and down the classes, and it's all organised, of course, by the Ferrari Owners Club, so they're here to have fun and race their Ferraris, right?
Yeah,
and they should.
So Group 1, if we had any of the cars, would be unmodified cars up to 3 litres, I guess.
By deduction, yes, I imagine that will be the case, but it is 2, 3, 4 and 5 to worry about and to have a listen as they continue to just get up to speed with this now damp, soggy, and you can see there's a bit of debris just sort of offline from the trees that surround Oulton Park, the rubber that's been kicked up from the previous Ferrari Challenge UK Race 1, which just finished a few moments ago. 2.69 miles, 4.3 kilometres, 17 turns, 11 rights, 6 left, as the drivers navigate once more back around, and I think they're going to get another one. They're under yellow flag conditions, certainly. They're going slowly.
Standing start.
Now forming up on the grid. That's the reason. They're slowing down, ready for their standing starts. We will get underway. They've done enough formation exploratory laps, and we're nearly ready to go racing. On the left-hand side of your screen is pole position. That is occupied by Wayne Mars. On the right-hand side, Tristan Simpson. As we await the final cars to line up in their grid spots. The tension rises. Peter Mosley will be the last to line up on row 18th in 18th spot. It's such a big grid here. It goes all the way around the corner. And I think we've got a car that's decided to come into the pit lane as well, potentially starting from there or with an issue that they need to see before they start the race. So we'll get confirmation of who that is as soon as the race gets underway. Wayne Mars, Tristan Simpson, the front row. Then it's Christopher Goddard and Chris Butler behind them. Tim Walker and Vance Kearney follow. We are nearly ready to go racing. The windscreen wipers are well and truly on. The rain is still coming down here in Oulton Park. It'll be all eyes to the lights in the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic Race 1, and now foot to the floor. It's a good start from those further in the back. It looks like a drag race to the first corner, but I think Tristan Simpson has won out on that one. It's a slow start from Wayne Mars, who loses out after starting on pole position, slots into second. Tristan Simpson goes up to P1 as we have a battle further back. The number 25 Ferrari car coming through round the outside. Richard Fenny in the Group 2 308 GT4 navigating his way round, but because of the rain, because of the spray, a fairly tentative start, but a good start from our front two. There's the number 46 car making its way through, having a battle with the number 60, who makes that look all too easy as Wayne Mars just comes through on the 46 Tristan Simpson to regain the lead. So he lost it at the start, but is straight back through again.
Yeah, and if you bear in mind that Wayne Mars' pole position time was a 1:53.475 compared to Tristan Simpson's pole position time 1:58.307. Oh, nose to nose. That's a yeah, that's a slightly unusual look, isn't it?
It certainly is. That's the number 5 facing the wrong way round. That's Chris Butler in the 328 GTB, who's had a little coming together with one of the other Ferrari cars. You saw a hand out the window there. I think that was maybe a bit of a sorry mate. They're still going, trying to find the right way round. As still up in front, it's Wayne Mars ahead of Tristan Simpson in the gap all the way back to Goddard.
And I've got the car that came into the pit lane. I think it was the number 56 car of Peter Mosley from the back of the grid.
Okay, so Peter Mosley not...
The car has left now.
It has gone out. So Peter Mosley has been able to start this race. Good to see from the pit lane. He'll be right at the back, though. A bit of following the 25 car. That's Richard Fenny just leading this little trio that have found themselves together. The 308 GT4 cars, line astern. Back up front, though. Wayne Mars still continues his lead. That move looked very easy, I have to say, and just a lot of these cars and drivers, different experience levels, of course, just trying to get to grips with this change of conditions as well. The last thing any of these drivers want to do is have an accident, especially when they're here to just enjoy their racing as well and have a bit of fun and stretch these legs of these fantastic Ferraris from iconic eras.
Rain being the great leveller, you're not seeing Wayne Mars pull away as per the differential in speed this morning in qualifying, with a huge amount of difference, really, Wayne Mars at 1:53.475, Tristan Simpson a 1:58.307 in fully dry conditions this morning in qualifying. Rain is going to be very much the leveller during this race. So at the moment, as Mars has now completed lap number 1 with an advantage of 1 second, that gap not perhaps as much as it would have potentially have been with a fully dry track, and it's still raining now.
It still is raining. 17 minutes on the clock of this 20-minute race. Wayne Mars leads ahead of Simpson, Goddard, Fisk and Kearney, the top 5. Then it's Poulton, Mosley, Riddick, Fetty and Morwood, the top 10. Claringbould, Mills, Sauter, Butler, Shin in the top 15. Walker, Ferguson and Mosley languishing at the back at the moment, and not coming quite up to register their first laps yet. That's making their way tentatively round. The all-white Ferrari, the number 6 Ferrari, making its way through now. The number 8, I should say, that is Vance Kearney in the F355 Challenge.
Just having a look at this as well, from qualifying times this morning and the way they lined up on the grid to this afternoon with the very, very difficult, different conditions and very tricky conditions. Some are really mastering it, including this car here, the number 30 car that qualified in 10th place, Peter Fisk, that is. He's up into 4th place in the different conditions.
Peter Fisk doing a brilliant job in the 328 GTB Ferrari, and you can just see though, cars following don't want to get too close really, because suddenly your line of vision is just completely scattered. All you're seeing is spray off the back of the car in front. Even though you've got the windscreen wipers at full pelt, it's still a tricky one to navigate. We're watching the number 28 Ferrari make its way through. Miles Poulton in the 328 GTS. He's joined this series back in 2014. He saw a Ferrari car for sale and that it was ready to race, and thought, I'll buy it and I'll go racing, and that he did, and he's not looked back since in the Group 4 category.
You can see, can't you, in these conditions how difficult it is to put the power down when you come out the corner. You just see the back just skipping a little bit. You've got to get this absolutely perfect, and naturally these cars are valuable cars under braking as well. Just see that little skip on the circuit for the number 8 car. Currently in 5th position is the number 8 car, and that car comes from the top group, the Group 5, the modified cars over 3 litres, 355 challenge car. Vance Kearney, and really pushing on. The overall speed, of course, is much slower than this morning. Dry track this morning, wet track this afternoon, but they're having to utilise everything they know about car control in these conditions.
It certainly is a great challenge. Back up front, our leader, Wayne Mars, now extending his gap with the new fastest lap, 3.6 seconds the gap to Simpson in second. Of course, Wayne Mars coming in with a great pedigree here, back in 2016 in the Copper Shell category in the Ferrari Challenge Europe Series, came 5th overall. 2019 Ferrari Challenge UK in the Pirelli Trofeo category, 7th overall, so certainly knows how to ring a race car around the track. But you can just see here, navigating the chicane nicely, not pushing too hard up on the curbs, doesn't want to rattle the car too much.
Nearly 20 seconds the difference between the dry track this morning and the wet track this afternoon. I'll remind you of that pole position time for Wayne Mars. It was pretty exceptional, 1:53, and now the best lap of the race again for Wayne Mars is a 2:21.
Certainly fast. Here comes Vance Kearney in the white Ferrari, having a look around the outside of the car in front of him, Peter Fisk. So I think there might be a battle brewing there between 4th and 5th at the moment. That's car number 8 in the all-white car. So there might be some battle brewing there over the just off the podium placings. We're currently now looking at the...
Yep, very happy with this. 2 308 GT4s.
Yeah, at home with this one as they make their way tentatively through once again. The 26 car as well, also just watching in the background. The 348 challenge as the number 56 gets a 55, gets a little bit of a wiggle coming out of the chicane, loses a lot of time as well. I think that was Peter Mosley just having to correct his car. Sorry, it's Tony Claringbould just having to correct that car in the Mondial T, and straight through goes the number 26 car.
Yeah, that's the one group that's got sort of various different models of Ferrari all within the same group, because it's for lightly modified cars over 3 litres. So we've got a 328 GTB, a 348 Challenge, a 328 GTS, and a Mondial T, all comprising Group 4, of which this car, Tony Claring-Bald, is part of the 4 cars in Group 4. The race leaders are involved in Group 5 for the modified cars over 3 litres. So they've all got, right the way down the order, they've all got something to battle for. The group honours something very important, but I think potentially the most important thing about Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic is that they all look after the cars, because no one wants to see these cars' prized possessions coming back looking anything other than absolutely perfect.
Absolutely, you speak to the drivers in this field, and yes, they're racing. They take part in 17 races at 5 venues across the UK, some of the most prestigious places in motorsport. But the dynamic is not only about motorsport, it's about the people they're racing with, and that helps them to be competitive, but they also become great friends as well. A lot of them saying on the Ferrari Owners Club socials that they just enjoy coming out here, bringing their family, bringing their cars, and showcasing and sharing their passion for Ferraris of a bygone era from the mid-70s to later, and a lot of the drivers absolutely loving it. And some of them, most of them, have all done their apprenticeships. So we see 2 cars decide to take to the runoff there and just about navigate the very tight runoff area, making it a lot harder for themselves, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, that's the straight line, and the idea is that you negotiate those bollards, and you get no advantage by going straight on it down at Knickerbrook.
I think that might have been Lance Kearney in the white Ferrari, was one of those cars making his way through.
Doing the Joker lap.
Yes, and potentially Richard Moseley as well, but making their way through again. But coming back to all of these drivers in the field we have here, a lot of them have done their apprenticeship. They can build cars, they maintain them themselves, and that's how, you know, they got into racing and have a huge backing to get into racing in the first place. They started from the bottom and worked their way up to be able to do this. So it is impressive stuff, and great to see them engaging and sharing their passion.
Even to own a Ferrari is something that many of us dream of. To own and race a Ferrari is something else, and all 17 of those that took the start of this first Ferrari Formula Classic race of the weekend have achieved that goal. It's very, very impressive, this field. And so far, as we are now into the second half of the race, would you believe, 20-minute race, 9.5 minutes of the race remaining, they are all equipping themselves extremely well in what must be very, very challenging conditions.
Richard Moseley, we're watching
Change
now
of place for
in
fourth,
the
that
number
was.
yellow, yeah, the number 16 yellow car getting in front of the number 30 car as well. So who was that? That was a bit further back in the pack, but certainly a change of position. That was Peter Fisk. So
yeah, that's
those two
fourth.
doing battle. Yes, battle for fourth. So just off the podium spots. Moseley now in front of Fisk. Moseley in the yellow Ferrari, leading this trio quartet.
It's a quartet now, isn't it?
It's a quartet.
Yeah.
He's joined by Lance Kearney and Poulton as well, is the last car in this gaggle, but being led by Moseley in the yellow.
Which appears to be pulling away a little bit now. Now it's got ahead of the number 30 car of Fisk. It seems to have put a bit of daylight, if that's the thing, a bit of spray in between himself and the number 30 car, who's going to lose another place. I'm not sure the car is right anymore. No, it doesn't quite lose a place, but early on in the race, Peter Fisk was going incredibly well, made up 7 places on the opening lap, and now seems to be struggling to keep cars behind him. So I wonder if that car is quite as it should be.
Well, in that effort for Kearney to try and get past Fisk, that didn't pay off. It's really brought in Miles Poulton in the red Ferrari 328 GTS. Is the last car coming through the picture now. Was really onto the back of the white Ferrari of Lance Kearney, the F355 Challenge, but just about holding that off, and that has, of course, allowed Peter Fisk up the road a bit of breathing room. Richard Moseley has certainly managed to clear a big gap here, as we just see the number 30 car losing it on the edge of the track, and around he goes. He gets it stopped, and the number 30 Ferrari of Peter Fisk having a bit of a heart-stopping moment there, coming into the final corner. He's lost a couple of positions, but gratefully he hasn't come together with anything. He's been able to get going once more.
They almost stopped, didn't they, because they didn't want to make contact with the car, and they knew the place was theirs, but wanted to see where the car finished up. Fortunately, didn't touch anything, so the car is still beautiful. And how beautiful is it, the 328 GTB? Absolutely glorious looking car. So I'm really not sure that Peter Fisk's number 30 car is running quite the way that it did at the start of the race. It's gone off in some way, but that sort of moment there cost a couple of places, unfortunately. Also, we should mention that the car in third place, and that's the car of Christopher Compton Goddard, car number 44, has put in on the previous lap the fastest lap of the race at 2:19.963. So that's the car in third place with the fastest lap of the race thus far.
Absolutely. Wayne Mars still leading though. He's getting a little bit tasty in the mid-pack. The number 29 Ferrari just having a look in front, and behind it William Morwood further back in the pack in 11th. I think it was Darren Mills who just managed to get Darren Mills in the F355 Challenge, just managed to get in front of it, and he's now being hounded by the Ferrari behind him as well. And I think that's the number 5 Chris Butler in the 328 GTB. Headlights flicked up, takes a wider line, will try and cut back, get better traction on exit, and try and close that gap in front of him to Morwood.
When I was at school, Harry, that's what you dreamed of, having a car with pop-up headlights. You knew if you eventually had a car with pop-up headlights, you had arrived in life. That's what you hoped for.
And did that ever happen?
Yes.
It did.
Yeah, it did, yeah. I got a car with pop-up headlights. Yeah.
And you'd lived the dream. It certainly is a classic look, isn't it? It's cool. You don't see that so common these days.
I used to let so many cars out of junctions by stopping and flashing them to come out, just so I could pop up the headlights. Yeah.
I bet people really loved you.
No, they didn't. No.
But there is the number 5 Ferrari making its way through with those headlights popped up and ready for action. This is a little replay then of the number 30 car, just losing it on his own. On turning, under braking, locking all the wheels. You can see Vance Kearney in the white Ferrari trying to figure out which way to go.
It wasn't even a spin, it was a third spin.
Yes, luckily he just managed to keep it stopped and not go off the track too far. So he's carried on going. He's fallen a couple of places down now, but still going in that number 30 car. And a little bit further down in 7th, Peter Fisk, but he's now lost those places to Portland and Kearney. Up at the front though, Wayne Mars lead the way. 4 seconds to gap, 4.1 seconds to gap, 4.5 minutes to go. There's Simpson, Christian Goddard, Mosley, Kearney, Poulton, Fisk, Riddock, Sota and Fenny, the top 10. Mills, Moore and Butler, the last of the on the current lap runners in 13th, Farrington, Shearman, and the Ferguson and Mosley cars never started.
Leader in with the traffic now, so with an advantage of 4 seconds. Pretty much the lead that we saw Lucky Kira able to establish in the first half of the Ferrari Challenge race that we had earlier on today here at Oulton Park. So 4 seconds, and it enabled him to pick his way through the traffic absolutely perfectly, not take any risks or any chances, but just that cushion that enabled him to safely get through the traffic. And that's exactly the same advantage that Wayne Mars has got at the front of the field, and he's able to begin to pick off traffic with goodness, only 3.5 minutes of the race remaining.
Absolutely, it's sped by, and so far it's been a masterclass of a wet drive. It does feel like, it looked like it's gotten a little bit heavier actually, the rain, as the race has gone on. So changeable conditions constantly since we started this race. 2 formation laps just to get the drivers up to speed before our standing start. Standing start was very difficult in these conditions with these cars and these drivers, but Wayne Mars certainly holding firm at the moment. 6.3 seconds the gap to Simpson. Then comes Compton Goddard in third. The top 3 covered by 8.6 seconds.
Top 3 three have all been through and completed now 7 laps in this 20-minute race, 2.5 minutes just over of the race remaining. A few of them putting in a personal best lap on that occasion, one of which is the number 8 car of Vance Kearney, currently in 5th place. One of them is the recovering number 30 car of Peter Fisk, which is currently down in 7th place, and also a personal best lap on that last lap for the number 18 car, and that car comes from the Group 5 cars as well, Darren Mills, who is down in 11th place. So a few of them putting in a personal best on that last lap. I'm sure we're going to see that fastest lap of the race overall bettered. It's currently in the hands of the car in 3rd place, Christopher Compton Goddard, 2:19.963, because I agree with you, it's getting wetter.
It certainly is as well. You've caught the weather spot on so far this weekend, I have to say. I think you've got it completely right. I thought it might rain a little bit earlier on than it did. It held off until around 3:40, 4 o'clock local time, which is when it was predicted to happen as well. As we see the 46 Ferrari car make its way through. It's Tristan Simpson, the 2nd place car.
2nd and 3rd on the podium.
Oh, yes, it certainly is. They've really fallen away from Wayne Mars, haven't they? He's certainly, there he is, Wayne Mars coming through picture, and then wait for it. 6.3 seconds later comes Simpson and then Goddard. So this fight started to get a little bit closer now in the closing stages. Just over a minute left of this race. An error from either one of these drivers, or certainly Simpson, and we could have a completely flipped podium.
Yeah, Compton Goddard is looking pretty challenging now as they come down towards the corner. It's the closing stages of the race, and makes it look very, very easy, doesn't he? Splashed through a puddle. You could see how tricky it was, but was not slowed down and is now up into 2nd place.
He made that, as you say, look far too easy. I thought Goddard and Simpson might be able to come back at him, but didn't quite, not get the undercut he wanted or the traction. 30 seconds to go, and we've had a change for 2nd and 3rd. It's Goddard now in 2nd, Simpson down to 3rd.
Now raining really heavily, so there's standing water now on the circuit. It's not just greasy and wet, it's proper puddles around the circuit. They are doing a pretty incredible job to keep everything neat and tidy and stay on the tarmac, because the rain is coming down heavier than it has been so far today along the path.
Well, this will be the final lap as the clock times out, and there is your leader Wayne Mars, who had a bit of a poor getaway from pole, actually lost P1 to Simpson. He fell down to 2nd place, but then he quickly regained that not even halfway through the opening lap, so he certainly had the pace, just didn't have the start he quite wanted. Since then he's never really looked back.
Clock's on 0, so we've had the 20 minutes, and this is your race leader Wayne Mars. Pole position this morning, maybe not the start that was required, but once got into the lead, has not been led during this 20-minute race. Best lap has been a 2:21.225 in difficult conditions this afternoon, compares to the 1:53.475 that took pole position, but so far this has been perfect for Wayne Mars.
It certainly has been, hasn't it? As he continues to navigate his way around. Wayne Mars, a former Ferrari Challenge Racing driver in the Group 5 category, modified cars over 3 litres, makes his way over the blind press in the number 60 F355 Challenge. He loves the challenge as Wayne Mars, and this has certainly proven one of the hardest. Oulton Park, already one of the hardest tracks to race on. It's tight and twisty nature. It's gradients as we get a car on track, or off track I should say. It's the number 26, Colin Sota, but managing to keep it going. Can he keep it in a straight line? He's struggling with the mud and the grass that's been developing from the rain, but someone who's kept it on track and not looked back whatsoever. It will be Wayne Mars who takes the first win of the season and of the weekend here at the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic Series. Wayne Mars is your winner, ahead of Christopher Compton Goddard in the F355 Challenge cars, and then it will be Tristan Simpson in 3rd to round out the podium. Just missing out on that 2nd spot that he felt quite a way back in those last couple of minutes, so just didn't have the pace of Goddard in the end, but Mars sublime performance.
absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? And if you bear in mind that for the last 3 or 4 laps of that race, conditions really nasty, very, very wet, heavy rain, standing water in certain places. We know that because we saw Compton Goddard splash through a puddle when he went for 2nd place. So really difficult conditions. Super effort today from not just our race winner, from all of them. And of course we've got group winners as well, the first of which is winning group 4, car number 28. That's the car of Miles Poulton, coming in 5th place overall, winning in group 4. We've got a winner as well, a recovery drive for the number 30 car. That's the car of Peter Fisk, winning in group 3. And we've yet to get the winners coming through of group 2, currently being led by the car 29 car of William Morwood.
Certainly impressive, actually, from Peter Fisk to take the win after his little half-3 spins. Little moment. Certainly proving he's got the pace in that car as well, the 328 GTB. And that is the scene that sees us finish the last bit of track action here in Oulton Park for Friday. And that is confirmation. Wayne Mars takes the win ahead of Christopher Goddard and Tristan Simpson. Kearney and Miles Poulton round out the top 5 overall, but it's Mosley, Fisk, Riddick, Butler and Mills the top 10. But of course, separated into their categories, then it's Soto in 11th, Morwood, Fenny, Claringbould, Shearman the top 15, and unfortunately Ray Ferguson and Peter Mosley didn't quite get going in the end. Hopefully they'll get their time out on track tomorrow, where we have 2 more races for you as well for the Pirelli Ferrari Formula Classic, supporting the Ferrari Challenge UK this weekend, run by the Ferrari Owners Club. And this was the start, that it was a poor start for our pole sitter Wayne Mars, but he quickly recovered and took the spot off Tristan Simpson. Back in front again, action further back in the pack, a little coming together between the number 5 and the number 26 car of Colin Soto. They managed to get back going again, but not ideal for their campaigns to the start of the race. Lance Kearney was certainly showing his pace in the all-white Ferrari. And a little moment there as well for many of the cars, none more so than the 55 racer making his way around track. That was the Mondial T, Pony Claringbould. Then a little bit of reworking of the racetrack and coming through the runoff area. It's not the fastest route there, but Vance Kearney felt like he didn't have many other options, had to take to the runoff, managed to keep on going and came home 4th overall in the end. This was the half spin for Peter Fisk that saw him lose out overall positions, but still comes home as a winner in his class. This was the spin on the very last lap as well for car number 26. But the winner, who didn't put a foot wrong in challenging conditions, Wayne Mars, overall winner, and the win in his Group 5 ahead of Goddard and Simpson, who came home to take the final spot on the overall podium. Well, that just about does it for the track action here at Oulton Park this afternoon. Thank you for your company. We're back tomorrow for more Ferrari Pirelli Formula action and the Ferrari Challenge UK. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.